Now at 4, after major flooding in Lake County, News 6 has an exclusive up-close look at the damage on the ground with Mount Dora's top cop.
Hurricane Melissa made history today, making landfall in Jamaica as one of the most powerful to do so in recorded history. We'll have the latest on the storm going forward coming up in a few minutes.
And hear from teens who survived a deadly crash as the Central Florida father of the driver goes to trial.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at 4 p.m.
Today, we are making it our mission to ask one question for people living in Lake County. What happened after intense rainfall caused washouts, impacting roads and threatening homes, leading to evacuations in some places? Your Lake County community correspondent Emily McLeod continues her coverage of the cleanup. And Emily, you rode along with local officials in Mount Dora as they continue to assess the damage today.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. After some of the floodwaters have begun to recede, now they're getting a real look at what exactly happened and what's left to clean up. Now, Mount Dora's Police Chief Mike Gibson, he tells me that 21 residences were evacuated from Waterman Village early Monday. Now, after yesterday's press conference, I asked Chief Gibson, hey, can we get a ride along and come look at the damage with you and get your perspective? He said yes. So we met up at the police station earlier today and we made a stop here on Donnelly Street as well as Waterman Village.
So all these homes have been evacuated.
Oh my gosh.
And yesterday we were literally watching the feet just fall off.
A look at the massive washout just feet away from homes in Waterman Village. 17 inches of rain slammed into Mount Dora on Sunday, leaving behind a slew of destruction throughout the city. Chief Michael Gibson tells me 21 residences were evacuated.
Are you all at all worried about these houses crumbling?
Well, our priority would be the residents, right? And make sure that they're safe, and they're safe. They're not here. Waterman has gone above and beyond to make sure that they're safe.
We were able to secure an exclusive ride-along with Chief Gibson on Tuesday. Our first stop was Waterman Village.
That big pipe right there.
Sure. As I understand, that is the water main, one of the water mains. And as you can imagine, as the sand and dirt, everything supporting it was washed away, then the weight of the pipe and the water itself, it's just going to collapse.
And so that was one of the water main breaks potentially that you would know of that caused the boil water notice throughout the entire city.
As I understand.
And just down the street, the washout on Donnelly. So what we're going to see next at Donnelly is all that dirt that's gone from Waterman is now what caused or what contributed to the washout at Donnelly.
So is this sand back here what we were talking about earlier? Is this what came from Waterman?
This is all, and we won't go too much further, but this is all part of what you saw. You see it just carried sand with it.
What do you think the message is, or maybe the learning experience is from this for local municipalities and local governments?
Well, I keep stating, and I can't overstate enough, I'm not an engineer, but these things happen. And we just got to consider those when we're designing as we grow. We have to consider some of the events that we may face here in the state of Florida.
Back out here live, we are on Donnelly. Another look at the washout here. I couldn't believe it earlier when Chief told me the sand and dirt that was from Waterman that created that ravine was pushed all the way down here to Donnelly, and that's what contributed to this massive washout out here. Now, we talked about timelines for when some of this could get fixed, and as far as Waterman Village goes and the washout here on Donnelly, Chief tells me he's planning for it to be a little while before fixes are put in at either one of those places. Now, coming up on News 6 at 5, we are going to take a closer look at the damage at Waterman Village. And then on News 6 at 6, we're also going to be taking a closer look at some of the damage over on Wolf Branch Road. For now, reporting live in Lake County, I'm your Lake County community correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
It's a big mess out there, Emily. Thank you. Governor DeSantis said help is on the way. The state is deploying pumps to remove 30 million gallons of water from flooded parts of Lake County. Emily checked. Leaders say those pumps are going to the Eustis area. The governor also said FDOT is helping with at least 4 damaged roadways in the area. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas joins us now. And Jonathan, the good news is you can see the sun shining above Emily out there.
Yes.
this afternoon.
Much needed, and I think this is going to be a stretch that is going to be very welcome for a lot of Central Floridians for sure. A cold front has crossed the area, certainly drier air. You see those white lines on your screen? That's the drier air being pumped in behind our cold front. Not a drop of rain in sight. There may be a few showers develop late tomorrow night, but that is going to be few and far between over the next couple of days. There is the orange on the map. This is in the mid-levels of our atmosphere, the water vapor, that drier air behind the front. This dip in the jet stream here is what is also protecting Florida from Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. Made a historic landfall today, tied for the strongest hurricane at landfall with 185-mile-per-hour maximum sustained winds. You see the eye very well defined there, moving through the island of Jamaica. Again, still at this hour, 150 miles per hour, so now just getting downgraded to a Category 4 storm. It's about to leave Jamaica and head toward Cuba, but again, devastating landfall for Melissa. We're going to talk much more about this through the course of the show, Lisa.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. And as Jonathan mentioned, we're talking about Hurricane Melissa as we take a live look right now at Jamaica, where Melissa made landfall this afternoon as a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane. Melissa made landfall in the southwestern part of the island. The powerful Cat 5 storm is the strongest to ever hit the Caribbean island. And the World Meteorological Organization is calling it Jamaica's storm of the century. The National Hurricane Center issued a dire warning saying within the eye wall, total structural failure is likely.
Today will be very difficult for tens of thousands, if not millions of people in Jamaica. Roofs will be tested, floodwater will rise, isolation will become a harsh reality for many.
For days, officials pleaded with residents to get to shelters or buildings that can withstand the wind and flooding. Aid teams are standing by to get to work as soon as it is safe to do so. Authorities in Cuba say they have already evacuated more than 500,000 people from low-lying areas as the storm is expected to hit there next. 3 people have died so far in Haiti and 1 in the Dominican Republic. And you can get the latest updates on the weather where you live and Hurricane Melissa right now by downloading the News 6 weather app. It is free to download. Just search WKMG in the App Store or Google Play. It was a heartbreaking scene in Osceola County. In 2023, a woman and 3 children were killed in a crash, and now the father of the driver is on trial, charged with vehicular manslaughter. News 6's Laverne McGee is live in Kissimmee with the latest on this trial. Laverne?
That's right. His son has already pleaded guilty in that crash. Now the father is accused of letting his son drive without a license. This morning they had jury selection, and then we heard from a witness, one of the teens who was in the car at the time of the crash.
Was his dad around when you guys got in the car?
He was sitting in the garage telling us to buckle up and stuff before we pulled off.
This teenager was in the car his friend Richard Ferguson was driving when they got into a fatal accident. He testified that 60-year-old Richard Ferguson knew that his son was taking their car.
Did he, Mr. Ferguson, see you guys get in the car and drive off?
Yes.
Did he ever make any attempts to stop you guys?
No.
Authorities say 15-year-old Richard Ferguson ran a stop sign at more than 70 miles per hour on September 3rd, 2023. It happened at San Miguel Road and Laurel Avenue in Point Siena. He crashed into a car with a 50-year-old woman and her grandchildren, ages 11, 9, and 1. They all died. He pleaded guilty to his manslaughter charges and accepted a plea deal and will likely remain in juvenile custody until he turns 19.
The trial will be resuming tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. and the judge says that he expects the jury to start deliberating tomorrow afternoon that early. Reporting live in Kissimmee, I'm Laverne McGee, your Osceola County community correspondent, News 6.
Laverne, thank you. A Kentucky man who was arrested for a parole violation was found to be living there. He was once accused of killing a child. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity, but he was convicted of other charges. The case made national headlines, not only because of the circumstances of his early release, but also because of just how close he was living to 2 schools. News 6's Tylisa Hampton joins us now live in Marion County, where the sheriff's office and attorney general spoke just a couple of hours ago. Tylisa?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The sheriff's office here says that Ronald Exantis was arrested just a few weeks ago for violating his parole. Now he is headed back to Kentucky today in handcuffs.
And to them, to the family members that are watching, and for you, 10:55, his ass was out of my jail.
On Tuesday, the Marion County Sheriff said 42-year-old Ronald Exantis is back on his way to Kentucky, handcuffed after they arrested him early this month for violating his parole. Exantis was accused of the 2015 stabbing death of 6-year-old Logan Tipton in Kentucky, but was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He was later sentenced to 20 years in prison for attacking the child's family, but was released 7 years into that sentence on early parole, making his way to Florida.
Is that the parole board in Kentucky did the right thing. A unanimous vote to say no on this individual being released. And because of some stupid, obscure law in which Kentucky has, that murderer came here. That was his mistake.
The case gaining not only state attention, but national, reaching the White House after the press secretary said they were looking into it. County investigators said Exantis was living 40 yards across from an elementary school, but violated his parole when he failed to register as a convicted felon within 48 hours.
We will hunt you down and ensure you're put right back where you should be.
The state's attorney general says the state will continue to be tough on crime.
There are a handful of states out there already that have a narrowed insanity defense. I hope that the leaders in Florida will look at adding Florida to that list of states.
The sheriff's thoughts returning to the family he says has suffered enough.
And the emotion that I could hear in the family in the background, it breaks your heart.
And the sheriff was asked about the possible charges Exantis could face back in Kentucky. However, he said that was Kentucky's responsibility, and he's just happy he's out of the state. Reporting in Marion County, I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton.
Tylisa, thank you. After the break, a busted appliance can be a big headache and even bigger expense. But there's one fix you can do yourself at home. We'll show you how.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
Candy!
Hi, Eric.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, Candy, you just moved here from Wisconsin.
Yes, I did. I had a house built, and here we are.
Beautiful, brand new house. Congratulations and welcome. You got a surprise, though, when you first tried to use your oven.
Yes, I did. I went to hit the light button one night. It dings, but no light comes on.
Your oven or even your fridge light, your bulb, has burned out. You want to replace it. But which one do you get? How do you know what's going to fit?
If you can find the model number of the appliance, you can easily find out which bulb you need. In Candy's fridge, it's printed right on the inside of the door. I'm looking all over this thing trying to find a tag, but apparently newer appliances only have this, a QR code, which I guess I'm supposed to scan. And then once you have the model number, you can look up the instruction manual, or you can just Google the type of bulb that'll fit. But before we can screw in the new light bulb, we have to unscrew the light bulb cover at the back of the oven.
Now we figure out how many news guys it takes to screw in a light bulb.
Thanks, Jeff. The bulb might be burnt out. Here's our old bulb, here's our new bulb, and look, we got it right. All right, now before we push the button, I'm gonna get Candy over here. All right, Candy, I'm gonna let you do the honors. I feel like this is a game show.
Yeah.
Push that button.
It's on.
Ah,
Excellent. Thank
got
you.
results.
You got results.
Wasn't that bad?
No, it was easy for me.
Yeah, certainly for Candy it was. And remember, if you want us to tackle a project in your house, send me an email at gettingresultsathome@wkmg.com. And next week, we might just show up at your house. For now in Palm Bay, I'm Eric Von Agin, Getting Results at Home, News 6.
Much nicer weather out there today. Behind a cold front, there are our beautifully blue skies again. It's a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera. Port Canaveral, Brevard County right now, where we have air temperatures hanging out into the middle 70s. A little more comfortable out there. Certainly we have the breeze at times. It will turn much more comfortable once we get into your Thursday morning behind a secondary and much stronger cold front that's coming by on Wednesday evening. Right now we're in the upper 70s in Orlando. Groveland, good evening. We are at 78. Denellen, we're back to the upper 60s right now. Same for us in Ocala. And you can always keep up with the latest forecast by downloading the free News 6 weather app. The Hurricane Tracker app is embedded in that as well. If you want to see the latest on Melissa, look at some of the satellite images and the latest modeling and forecast from the Hurricane Center and that as well. Tomorrow morning, temperatures starting off into the upper 50s, so trying to cool back down a little bit. I think a little cooler tomorrow morning than what we had this morning. We're at 61 in Orlando. Holopah, we're at 62. We're back to the upper 50s in the Villages. In Denellen, we're at 56 degrees as well. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
Temperatures back to the upper 70s and lower 80s tomorrow. Rain chances 0% during the day. Slight opportunity late into the evening for a few scattered showers to sneak in here. That is because the cold front is inbound, could spark a few showers. They will be light. There is 1 o'clock on your Wednesday morning. You see a few extra clouds tomorrow morning trying to build back in. Think we'll be in and out of clouds again, partly cloudy skies again once we get into tomorrow. And then here's what I'm talking about. You see that very narrow band of light rain, maybe a couple of embedded downpours in the mix. That's 11 o'clock. I think really starting at around 8, 9 o'clock through I-75. These blow through quick. And then behind it, that's whenever we change things up a little bit. Temperature map across the country. Again, here is our secondary front. And you see what it's doing, where it's in 95 in Brownsville, Texas, into the mid-70s in New Orleans, and then all the way back in Oklahoma City. They're back into the upper 50s right now. So this front means business, and this is going to change things up a great deal as we get into Thursday. And certainly for your trick-or-treat forecast, we are fast-forwarding to Friday, where the sunset is 6:40 into the evening. These are temperatures at about 6 to 7 o'clock. We're talking air temperatures in the low to mid 60s across most of Central Florida. Ocala will be in the 50s, mid 50s in Palm Coast. Could be the coolest Halloween that we have felt since way back in 2012 with a high temperature of 74 on Friday. That's after a high temperature of 72 degrees on Thursday. And these mornings are going to be oh so crisp. Most of us waking up into the 40s and 50s. Extra hour of sleep on Saturday night, unless you have kids and pets, then the clock just goes back an hour for daylight saving time. We're talking about temperatures getting back to the upper 70s as we get into the early stages of next work week. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
Foreclosure rates continue to rise, up 20% in September from last year. Florida leads the way across the country, with 1 in every 2,200 homes foreclosing. As CBS's Christian Benavides explains, industry experts say the numbers are not historically alarming, but they may signal broader trouble.
This house is one of realtor Emily Odak's half-dozen foreclosure listings in South Florida, and more are in the pipeline.
We have properties that are behind the scenes that are about to become foreclosures, that are pre-foreclosures, that we are currently watching or may be in default.
Adam, a provider of nationwide property data, reported more than 35,000 foreclosure filings around the country in September.
When people aren't paying their mortgage per se, that indicates something broader in the market for us.
Foreclosure rates are up 20% compared to a year ago, and nowhere more so than Florida. Nevada also made the top 3. Both states were popular relocation areas during the pandemic.
What we don't know is if the folks that maybe were moving there for remote work during the COVID era are starting to see distress or not. But typically, it's older homes that are just going through traditional foreclosure processes.
The high cost of home insurance and rising HOA fees for condos are driving up prices for Florida homeowners, increasing the risk of foreclosures here.
especially because of the Surfside tragedy. The city comes in, they check out the whole building for the past 30 years, what needed to be fixed, what needs to be fixed, and then they go and allocate special assessments to the homeowners, maybe a $1,500 extra a month.
Despite drawing some comparisons to the 2008 housing crash fueled by high-risk mortgages, real estate experts don't expect a repeat. ODAX says it is still the right time to buy for somebody. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Coral Springs, Florida.
Employment rates also affect foreclosures, and there's less of a safety net now that pandemic-era foreclosure moratoriums and forbearance programs for struggling homeowners have ended. Coming up after the break, why one of the country's largest employers is announcing thousands of layoffs.
I'm Catherine Silver in Seminole County, where commissioners are looking at the best way to spend a portion of your penny sales tax dollars.
Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now, starting with an exclusive up-close look at the damage in Mount Dora, including this severe washout just feet from homes in the Waterman Village retirement community. We're told nearly 24 homes there had to be evacuated after the city got around 17 inches of rain on Sunday night. Leaders say there have been no reports of deaths or injuries. Hurricane Melissa made landfall today in southwestern Jamaica near the town of New Hope. The powerful Category 5 storm is the strongest to ever hit the island, with winds up to 185 miles per hour and heavy rain. 3 deaths in Haiti and 1 in the Dominican Republic are being blamed on the storm. And a man is on trial in Osceola County after a deadly crash that FHP says was caused by his 15-year-old son. Richard Ferguson faces 4 counts of vehicular manslaughter in connection to the 2023 crash at San Miguel Road and Laurel Avenue in Point Siena. Ferguson is accused of letting his son drive without a license. The crash killed a 50-year-old woman and her grandchildren, ages 11, 9, and 1. From property taxes to fire fees, there's a lot of talk about how your taxpayer money is being spent. And for over 3 decades, voters in Seminole County have said they want 1 cent from every single dollar they spend to be used to improve roads, bridges, parks, and schools. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, is looking into the priorities for the penny in the years ahead.
Remember the penny sales tax that was on your ballot? That request to renew it that 73% of voters here in Seminole County did approve almost a year ago. Well, the county expects it will generate $650 million in revenue over the next 10 years. But where will that money go? Most of it will be used for transportation and stormwater. But commissioners need to figure out what to do with a portion of that money, around $250 million that they have this time around that also includes park projects and other infrastructure. There's a lot that could be considered in that other category, but now we have a wish list of what commissioners here are considering, and they discussed it Tuesday.
Great to be looking ahead.
We were there as county staff asked the commission for their input on what projects should be priorities, including a new medical examiner building, the WB Equestrian Facility, Rosenwald Community Center, Rolling Hills Park, county headquarters at the 5 Points campus, and improvements for animal services. The rough estimate to pay for all of it, about $214 million.
So this was a high-level discussion on the possibilities.
We asked Chairman Jay Zembauer about how they're planning ahead for every cost.
It's always helpful. I mean, we know that a penny and the penny sales tax is equivalent to about 1.4 mils. So if you didn't have the penny, that'd be additional 1.4 mils on ad valorem. This is more of a consumption tax, and we're able to leverage that money hugely. But as far as using it for other items, it would not be able to fund law enforcement and those kinds of things, that we have to fund as public service.
The county says up to 30% of the money they do get from the penny sales tax comes from visitors, people who don't live here in Seminole County, who contribute to a fund that the people who do live here get to benefit from. And as far as that wish list of projects goes, we've taken a deeper look at a lot of those items before. We've included those details on clickorlando.com. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Thousands of workers at one of the largest companies in the world will need to look for other jobs soon. Amazon announcing sweeping layoffs right before the holiday season. News 6 business reporter Donovan Myrie joins us now. And Donovan, where will these layoffs be taking place?
Well, Lisa, online retailer Amazon announced today it's cutting 14,000 corporate jobs globally in its ongoing effort to slash costs. The tech giant says the shakeup is driven in part by the adoption of AI. And this round of cuts is just the latest in a long line of efforts to make Amazon more efficient and focused.
This is coming at the corporate level, and so this isn't Amazon isn't doing well or consumers aren't spending. This is them saying we've got a lot of areas in the corporate level that we think we can be more efficient on, and we're going to take some of those resources away, and then we're going to add some resources in an area that we think is going to be growth-worthy, which is AI.
Today's announcement focused exclusively on corporate positions, AI technology, white-collar jobs. And that should not be confused with robotics and automation, which are blue-collar jobs. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy has long hinted at a future shaped by automation. Internal documents reviewed by the New York Times outlined Amazon's plan to replace more than 500,000 warehouse jobs with robotics, with the goal of automating 75% of warehouse operations.
So many people have been trying to predict what does AI mean for the future of jobs, not just at Amazon, but really at every single company. And I know you've been covering a lot of that.
Yeah, I've worked on a couple of stories. One place that's really leaning into artificial intelligence is in the supervisory roles. Some CEOs say they're spending billions on AI and just barely breaking even. Some companies are blending human managers with smart systems, combining the best of both worlds. Even job reviews are getting the AI treatment. Some workers like the consistency, while others miss the human touch. Another place we're seeing AI is in the healthcare field. Medical bills hit record highs this year, and experts say next year, both health insurance and medical care is going to cost even more. But some experts say artificial intelligence could cut that down by hundreds of millions of dollars. I get to show you all about that at 5 o'clock.
Think that savings will be passed along to patients?
Are you crazy?
All right, Donovan, thank you. Also today, UPS said the company cut 48,000 jobs. Officials say they had reduced its management workforce by about 14,000 positions so far this year, and its operational workforce by 34,000 positions. Back to Lake County tonight. Your Lake County community correspondent Emily McLeod has been following recovery efforts for homeowners after yesterday's flooding. Today, commissioners took a look at the next steps for road repairs. News 6's Mark Lehman continues our coverage of the storm. He's learning some of these fixes could take months.
County leaders taking a look at what fixes need to happen to several roads washed out in Sunday's storm. A big focus was here off of Wolf Branch and another nearby road, which are suffering from lingering impacts from Hurricane Milton.
This time the water actually got up on top and it went over Wolf Branch.
In the first meeting since Sunday's storm washed away roads in Lake County, commissioners discussed what steps need to be taken in several spots. A priority is Wolf Branch Road.
We do want to get it open quickly. However, we are looking at long-term fixes that can stabilize that entire section.
The road's seen a lot of the same damage that happened after Hurricane Milton, which people living nearby say has been frustrating.
This never was a problem. This is the first time ever in 12 months we've had this go on twice.
Chad Fuller says he's hoping the county takes an in-depth look at both short and long-term solutions.
And this needs to be we need to do a lot better job of thinking through the engineering of water and retention ponds, depth of retention ponds.
A fix could also be coming to nearby Britt Road. It's been damaged for more than a year, but after securing land and grant money, the county is moving forward with a plan. Fuller says he's eager to see work happening on both roads and hopeful for progress.
This is tough now because this is big, and Britt Road's been closed for a year.
The county says prior to Sunday's storm, they hired an engineering company to design an advanced stormwater system, and they're hoping to discuss the results of that at their next meeting. Meanwhile, a lot of work still needs to happen here off of Wolf Branch Road, and at least the temporary fixes will happen over the next several weeks. For now, reporting in Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Mark, thank you. One thing a number of people have pointed to as a potential factor contributing to yesterday's floods is growth. But due to a state law that took effect earlier this year, communities no longer have any way to prevent development and change growth plans. Now, state lawmakers appear to be discussing tweaks to their law. A number of cities and counties, including a handful in Central Florida, joined a lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of the new state law. During delegation meetings across the state in advance of the 2026 legislative session, residents and local officials have criticized the part of the law that has essentially frozen local land development regulations and comprehensive plans.
I can't tell you what those changes are going to look like finally because, like I said, it's a collaborative process negotiated between the two chambers. But there will be some changes to that bill, I fully expect. At least that's what I'm pushing for.
Governor DeSantis has defended signing the bill, saying the core issue for him was to ensure people whose homes were damaged by hurricanes could rebuild without government interference. It's been about 3 weeks since Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced a potential connection between autism and Tylenol, and now some people are trying to take the matter to court. Texas Attorney General filed a lawsuit against the makers of Tylenol, claiming the companies Johnson & Johnson and Kenvue deceptively marketed Tylenol to pregnant moms and that the medication is tied to an increased risk of autism. The lawsuit calls for the companies to pay civil penalties to the state in the amount of $10,000 per violation. Kenvue responded in a statement saying Tylenol is safe and the company will vigorously defend against the claims. Kennedy pointed to what he described as clinical and laboratory studies that suggested a potential association between acetaminophen used during pregnancy and adverse neurodevelopmental outcomes, including one study in a public health journal. But added researchers are currently testing multiple hypotheses. A separate study published last year followed nearly 2.5 million kids over 25 years and found acetaminophen use during pregnancy did not increase the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders in children. Well, losing a pet is never easy, but people in Brevard County say a dog was ripped from its owner by the jaws of a crocodile. Viewer Lee Ann Anderson Savage shared this brief video of trappers sitting on a crocodile near Sea Park Boulevard and South Patrick Drive. Several social media posts say the croc was found with a golden retriever in its mouth, taken from a yard. FWC would only confirm there was a, quote, incident concerning a crocodile and a dog. Now, it's happened in that area before. We covered back in August of 2023 when a crocodile grabbed a pug and dragged it away. We've reached out to FWC to see if this could have been the same crocodile. They tell us the crocodile in this incident was the only confirmed one to be in the area since 2018, although Brevard County is considered the northernmost extent of the American crocodile's natural range. FWC says the animal has been placed in permanent captivity. All afternoon, we've been following the fallout of yesterday's flooding from intense rainfall in Lake County. We're checking in on a local small business that was washed out from all that rain. Jonathan.
Pretty remarkable looking water vapor imagery here on the satellite. We have Hurricane Melissa, of course, still dealing with Jamaica, and then the drier air that protected Florida from any kind of impacts from the hurricane. We'll talk much more about both of those systems after the break.
The floods in Lake County wrecked part of Amber Brook Farms in Eustis over the weekend, tearing down a retaining wall and damaging crops. But despite the damage and a big cleanup ahead, the owners are determined to keep their fall festival running this weekend. News 6's Alex Cook shows us how they are bouncing back.
I'm at Amber Brook Farm in Eustis, which was underwater Sunday night. You can see this used to be a big concrete retention wall, now reduced to dirt and rubble as they try to get it cleaned up. The power of the floodwaters pushing this wall completely down. Now, the owners of the farm say that it is at least tens of thousands of dollars in damage and lost crops that they have to deal with. But the good news is they will be open this weekend for their fall festival.
This picture shows the floodwaters early Monday morning after that retaining wall gave way.
We lost our entire retaining wall. Luckily, none of our major infrastructure is damaged, but there's a lot of cleanup to do and a lot of damage and some damage to the crops as well, strawberries and the young sunflowers.
General Manager Caleb Bradley took me on a tour of the damage to the farm Tuesday as crews worked to clean up after Sunday night's flood. He says the goal is to get the farm back into shape for the last 2 weekends of their fall festival.
It's going to require, at a minimum, filling as much dirt as we can back in here and marking off to make sure our guests are safe. But this just represents one area.
Other areas include the kids' playground, now being filled with fresh dirt, and the strawberry and sunflower crops, many of them destroyed by the flood. Workers Tuesday salvaged what they could. Bradley says even though the farm sustained lots of expensive damage and now faces lots of hard work, he's thankful everyone was safe.
I mean, we're lucky, nobody who lives here on the farm's home was damaged.
And of course, the show must go on.
We are 100% confident we will be open this Saturday and Sunday. All the same offerings, all the tractor rides, the playgrounds, the jump pillows, the food, the donuts, it'll all be up and running. It may look a little bit different, a little battered, but we're going to be open.
In Eustis, Alex Cook, News 6.
You know, I was out there in Lake County yesterday. It's hard to really describe just how extensive the damage is in some spots. I mean, you see those just massive washouts in those roads. It's hard to believe, and it happened in such a short period of time.
Yeah, 19 inches in about 6 hours there, as we talked about yesterday for sure, as all that water just gushed everywhere. Thankfully, much needed dry weather on the way, and this is going to be an extended period of dry weather. You see those white lines on your screen? That represents the wind direction, so some drier air pouring down the Florida Peninsula. That is going to be reinforced in a gigantic way. If you download the free News 6 weather app, you get the 10-day forecast on there, so you already know what I'm talking about. Hopefully, you've been watching since last week with this big Halloween cool down coming. There's our area of low pressure out towards the Arklatex. That is going to slide through tomorrow night into early Thursday morning and really change the scope big time on how it feels and looks across Central Florida. Here's a live look. Downtown Orlando, some of those puffy clouds. We'll lose those as the sun goes down tonight. That's a live look with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. Air temperatures back to the upper 70s right now. The breeze out of the north-northwest at about 5 miles an hour tonight. We're at 65 in Palm Coast and Bunnell, mid-60s for us in Denellen. We're at 76 in the Villages, 81 in Kissimmee. Tomorrow morning, I think we start things off a notch or two cooler than where we were this morning. That puts us back into the upper 50s in Mount Dora, 59 in Wildwood. The Villages, we are back to the upper 50s as well. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Goose egg for rain chances tomorrow. Those go up a little bit late tomorrow evening as a cold front comes through. Nothing significant there in terms of the rainfall. We're back to the upper 70s in the Villages. Holopaw, we're at 81 tomorrow. Melbourne, good evening. We are back to 82 degrees. Clouds and rain forecast. This will tell the story. We're going to be in and out of a few clouds for the rest of the evening. You'll see a few more areas of fog. That's this white that's trying to develop here through the overnight hours. Now, once we get into tomorrow, I think we'll see breaks in the clouds for the afternoon. And then you see that very narrow strip of that light green on your screen. That is going to be the rain associated with a cold front. The cold front has a lot of bite to it. The rain, thunderstorms should not. Again, though, it's going to be few and far between, but nonetheless, cooler air on the way. There's that front again we showed you just a second ago, and you see the cooler air behind it. We're talking 40s in Omaha right now, 50s in Oklahoma City, Dallas even checking in the lower 70s. That is some of the cooler air that is going to be spilling down for us, really getting into Thursday and then bleeding into Halloween for the first couple of days of November. Trick-or-treat forecast by Friday, sunset just before 7 o'clock, 6:40 to be exact. We're talking temperatures at 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock into that upper 50 range, 66 in Orlando, 62 in Kissimmee. So this front is going to be much, much different than what we've seen over really the entire season so far. Biggest front of the season, no doubt. 72 degrees on Thursday. That's after a start in the 50s. And then the real cool night comes our way. I think Halloween morning, we're going to start things off into the 40s and lower 50s across Central Florida. Lots of sunshine through the afternoon. That puts us back into the mid 70s for Halloween afternoon. Again, most of us in the 50s and 60s for trick-or-treat time. Saturday, we're back to the upper 70s, and we are keeping things into the upper 70s. This appears to be that dry season changing front that slices through Central Florida.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Open your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now and click the link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos. They could end up on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way. Our coverage of the weekend flooding continues. We're explaining what you need to do if your car was towed because of all the flooding. Plus, a big recognition for one of Central Florida's biggest theme parks, how it stacks up to others around the world.
Coming up in the morning, a push to improve safety on a busy Orange County road.
What's being done to slow down drivers in one part of Pine Hills, and the local mom and son leading the charge to make it happen.
Plus, it's going to be feeling like fall. Candace is tracking the timing of our next front just in time for Halloween.
We'll see you for News 6 mornings starting at 6.
And before we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. And you can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
Someone might be missing their car. My car went missing yesterday after I got stuck in some water. How do I find it? Listen, if this happened to you, one, I apologize. And two, your car is going to be found. So this is how this works. Every now and then you might park somewhere where you're not supposed to, might get towed in a downtown area if you stay too long. At the end of the day, the tow truck, as long as it's a reputable tow truck service, which most of them are, I would hope so, have to report that they've towed a vehicle to a log. Local law enforcement keep a log of all vehicles that are towed. In return, you, as the owner of that vehicle, the registered owner, can contact law enforcement and basically be like, look, this is my VIN tag, my car is missing, help me out. If the car was towed and it's registered on the log, they will be able to help you. If your vehicle was removed from any of these backed up roadways or anything like that, high likely that your vehicle's on that log. If you got a traffic safety question, you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
Every holiday season, Central Florida tops the list of top travel destinations, and this year will likely be no different. Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom remains the most visited theme park in the world. An annual index found nearly 18 million people visited the park last year. Disneyland in California came in a close second with more than 17 million visitors in 2024. It was followed by Universal Studios, Japan, Tokyo Disneyland, and Shanghai Disneyland. Those top five are the same as the previous year. The top 15 were all either Disney or Universal parks, except for one in China. Disney and Universal also had the top 9 most visited theme parks in North America last year, and Epic Universe will likely join the list next year. For all the latest on Central Florida's theme parks, subscribe to our In the Loop Theme Park Scoops newsletter. We'll send updates to your inbox every Friday with new developments from Disney, Universal, and more. Head to clickorlando.com/newsletters to subscribe. News 6 at 5 is next. Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Lisa, after major flooding in Lake County, several washouts have impacted communities there. Still to come, News 6 has an exclusive up-close look at the damage on the ground with Mount Dora's top cop. Plus, opening statements in the trial of a father of a teen accused of driving without a license and causing a crash that killed 4 people. An update from court is coming up. And your forecast is just minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like the one you're looking at right now in Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. Now on News 6 at 5, a washout threatens homes in Lake County. Tonight, several roads face major repairs after severe storms. Plus,
after more than 15 inches of rain fell in North Brevard County since Sunday night, I'm still finding roads that are closed. I'll show you the latest efforts to help a community in need coming up.
and dangerous Hurricane Melissa, now battering Jamaica with destructive winds, proved too intense for the elite pilots who fly into these monster storms. You're watching News 6 at 5.
It is video you will see only on News 6. We are getting an up-close look on the ground of some of the damage left behind after 17 inches of rain swept through Mount Dora on Sunday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Ginger Gadsden. Matt has the night off. Now, this drone video taken by News 6 during an exclusive ride-along with Mount Dora's top cop. It shows a massive ravine created by the flooding just steps away from people's homes in Waterman Village. Our Lake County community correspondent Emily McLeod joins us live from Donnelly Street, not far from Waterman Village. And Emily, Chief Michael Gibson tells you around 21 residents had to be evacuated.
Yeah, Chief Gibson tells me they started getting people out of their homes on Sunday, and then they officially ordered an evacuation Monday morning. Now, when we went back there and we saw that ravine, it just showed how much water went through this area and how powerful it was, especially considering Chief tells me that the washout from Waterman also contributed to the washout here on Donnelly.
It goes far further back. We'll stay about this far away from the, I can tell you that just yesterday, it was another 10 feet, so it's really unstable.
17 inches of rain sweeping through Mount Dora, all in a matter of hours on Sunday. We wanted to get a closer look at the damage, so we asked for a ride along with Mount Dora Police Chief Michael Gibson.
What you think you have in your mind, what the back looks like of Waterman, that was a 3-foot dip to kind of drain water in. And wait till you see 3 turn into 35 feet.
We came by Waterman Village, where Sunday's flooding tore through and carved out a giant washout. Are you all at all worried about these houses crumbling?
Well, our priority would be the residents, right, and make sure that they're safe.
Gibson says around 21 residences were evacuated.
All their important things they were able to get out, so they're safe. That's our big concern. Now the engineers will come in and they'll figure this out. They'll figure out, how do we fix this?
Gibson says the dirt and sand from this washout was carried all the way to Donnelly Street, which was also washed out over the weekend.
As you can see, it goes all the way back in the back. That stream going that way is what would have taken out Donnelly. See how far away we are?
From Donnelly down this way?
Right, so that's...
This is what...
This was just flowing this way.
Back out here live, we're giving you another look at the washout here on Donnelly Street. Again, Chief saying the washout at Waterman contributed to this massive washout here on Donnelly. Now, Chief tells me he's anticipating it's going to take a while for the repairs at both Waterman Village and here on Donnelly Street to take a while. Now, coming up on News 6 at 6, we're going to be going through all of the stops we went on today with Chief Gibson, including Waterman Village, right here on Donnelly Street, and Wolf Branch Road. For now, reporting live in Mount Dora, I'm your Lake County community correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
Emily, thank you. One of the roads we've been talking about, of course, Emily just mentioned, Wolf Branch Road also collapsing. But it happened again a year ago after Hurricane Milton. And that has a lot of people in the area asking what needs to be done so this does not happen again. News 6's Mike Valenti joins us now live from Wolf Branch Road. So, Mike, you went looking for answers there today.
Yeah, we did, and we're joining you live here on Wolf Branch Road. This is obviously the closest we can get to the collapse section you see behind me. And the focus on Wolf Branch Road, that came up during a press conference.
Mayor, a lot of residents have expressed frustration going back to Wolf Branch. The same section washed out almost a year ago from Hurricane Milton, and now we're dealing with the same section being washed out again. It's a pretty big traffic problem. Where does the city go from here? And what's your message to residents who are feeling that frustration?
Well, that's not a city-maintained road, so it's county-maintained.
Worries are mounting after the latest Wolf Branch washout.
We need to do a lot better job of thinking through the engineering of water and retention ponds.
As everyone knows, Wolf Branch
road blew out again.
During a meeting Tuesday, Lake County commissioners broached the topic on everyone's minds.
What we're going to try to do now on Wolf Branch is get it back operational.
After making some calls, we were able to get in touch with Leslie Campione, chair of the Lake County Commission, to ask her about Wolf Branch giving out just a year after a repair.
I'm sure you've heard from constituents who are frustrated. Do you understand that frustration, and do you share that frustration?
Oh, absolutely. I understand it a lot because I actually have been immersed in sort of what are the causes, why did this happen last time, why did this happen again. This rainfall was a little bit different than Milton because it didn't go on for such a long period of time. It was like 4 to 6 hours. And so we have some land uses upstream. We have a nursery, a very, very large nursery, and they have a lot of runoff that comes from that nursery. And so they were trying to pump their water and create some additional storage, but they could not pump it fast enough.
Do you think there's anything wrong with the repair? Do you need to kind of build back better this time on that road?
Well, and we're kind of answering the same questions over and over again. The road was blown out because of runoff.
That was Mike Valenti reporting. The historic flooding prompted a state of emergency in a city in Brevard County, too. Your Titusville community correspondent, James Barbero, continues his coverage on how the storms are impacting people in need.
After more than 15 inches of rain fell in North Brevard County since Sunday night, I'm still finding roads that are closed, like Robin Hood Avenue, where the roads become part of the lake. With the city now under a state of emergency, the Red Cross is opening a shelter for those displaced. And that shelter is downtown at the First United Methodist Church. Mayor Andrew Connors is here with me now. Mayor, for those who need it, how can they get help here?
Just show up to First United Methodist Church. The American Red Cross is out here providing a warm place to stay, hot meals, cleanup kits, everything that people will need to get a start in recovery.
And what's your message to your community right now during a very difficult time as you try to recover from the storm?
Our community is very important that we just stay together and come together so that we can help build each other back up.
For some in the community who think flooding is made worse, perhaps, by overdevelopment or aging infrastructure, what's your message to them?
Normally 15 inches of rain doesn't happen in 12 hours. I don't think that's likely to happen again. But while we learn these lessons, we will continue to improve and get better.
The mayor told me he's going to talk more about redoing the city's stormwater master plan at Tuesday night's city council meeting. In the meantime, if you want sandbags to protect your home, the city's still giving them away here at this public works building on Singleton.
But I've never been devastated like this.
Back at the shelter, I met this man, Mr. Benjamin Runyon, who's very thankful to have a place for a night or two.
This is a wonderful place to be right now, and I never had no idea, James, that this is going to happen to me today. But you know, it's in God's plan.
And about the stormwater plan, I'll follow all developments from the city council meeting, and we'll bring you any updates you need to know about right here on News 6 and clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Titusville community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Taking a live look now from Daytona Beach.
Yeah, drier air is moving in soon, so let's get right over to meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. And Jonathan, today is already a big improvement over yesterday.
Much, much better. Yeah, and I think improvements continue to come really as we get into Thursday and Friday, especially if you like more sunshine and especially if you like it on the cooler side. Here is our front from yesterday. That is now pushing back over the Bahamas. This is the front that's also keeping Melissa far, far away from Florida. You see the white lines there representing the wind direction. Then front number 2 hanging back to our west a little bit. This is the one that has all the bite to it in terms of the cooler air sliding down the pipeline. Here is the kind of the combination of the front that protected Florida and had it go turn to the north and east through western Jamaica and then back up into the eastern sections of Cuba eventually. But all of that dry air behind the cold front, again, that dip in the jet stream is steering Melissa far, far away from Florida, unfortunately right into Jamaica. Again, historic landfall today. Maximum sustained winds with Melissa 185 miles miles an hour. The pressure at landfall was 882 millibars. That's going to tie Hurricane Dorian in 2019 and the Labor Day hurricane of 1935 for the strongest Atlantic landfall on record with those winds. So just devastation likely happening in Jamaica right now. We'll talk much more about our local forecast in that cooler air in time for Halloween, guys, coming up at about 5:17.
Jonathan, thank you. You can track radar on the go with our News 6 weather app. It is free to download. Just search WKMG in your app store. Happening tonight, Brevard County parents will have the chance to weigh in on a proposal that could close an elementary school in Cape Canaveral. The district is considering shutting down Cape View, which currently serves about 270 students. The plan would send those kids to Roosevelt Elementary in Cocoa Beach. The district says both schools are only half full. Some parents are concerned about longer commutes and transportation issues. Tonight's school board meeting starts in a little less than 30 minutes at 5:30.
Health insurance costs are skyrocketing.
Ahead at 5, what is driving the rise and how is AI helping or hurting the situation? Plus, air traffic controllers facing some staffing issues. It's still a big problem, and now some workers are missing paychecks as the government shutdown continues. What this means for your travel plans next. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Well, we are now 28 days into the government shutdown, and the lack of a paycheck has now caught up to air traffic controllers and TSA agents.
Your Orange County community correspondent Jana Manahalal is at Orlando International Airport tonight, where controllers are warning everyone they are now working without a paycheck.
That's right. I'm at the Orlando International Airport, and stationed at each of the entrances of Terminal B, as well as the other terminals, you'll find union members of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association handing out leaflets that look like this one that say "End the government shutdown immediately." And now they're handing these out to passengers who are willing to listen to their message of hoping to get paid because the TSA agents that you see working behind me, as well as those air traffic controllers, are not being paid for the work that they're doing.
We need to make sure that they are taken care of. We need to make sure that they have a strong union.
Denise Pella Castro is one of many passengers flying out of the Orlando International Airport on a day where TSA and air traffic control workers are now on the job with no paycheck in sight. Jeremy Heinbach, an air traffic controller for the Orlando International Airport and union rep, says that safety and security remain a top priority.
The why we're coming in every single day is apparent to everybody as you walk around this place. All the families and everything, we're going to continue to show up and do the job.
Heinbach mentions that since air traffic controllers are government employees, coordinated organized sick outs, meaning not showing up during a shutdown, is illegal, and it has led to increased hours and fatigue for controllers.
It is a stressful and fatiguing job, and what we are here to stop is any unnecessary distraction and fatigue and stress caused by the shutdown. Not knowing when you're going to be able to pay your next bill, that adds something to the dynamic that we want out of the control room.
Heinbach says that air traffic controllers first received a partial check at the beginning of the shutdown, and the most recent biweekly check was all zeros. To ensure operations run smoothly in the tower, Heinbach says passengers could experience slow air traffic.
What we are going to do is, if there's not enough controllers in any scenario, we're going to slow down the traffic.
In Orlando, at the Orlando International Airport, your community correspondent, Jana Manahala, News 6.
Well, Halloween appears to be a hit with animals at Discovery Cove. Take a look. This is a pumpkin cam showing an anteater up close. Then the Asian small-clawed otters were having a splashy time in their otterly haunted mansion.
It's like, how did you get video of me at home this morning? Now, over at the Dolphin Lagoon, the dolphins turned pumpkins into their own playground. Divers also showed off their pumpkin carving skills underwater. Costumes, pumpkins, decorations. We want to see those Halloween pins. Scan the QR code on your screen right now and click the link. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way as well.
Weather, just going in the right direction for all of the pumpkin carving.
Yeah, if you like to feel festive, I think the pumpkin might actually last a little bit more than a day outside if you carve it in the next couple of days for sure. Big time chill coming in, guys, and I think that's for everybody's standards, not just Floridian standards as well. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast for Halloween day. Temperatures back to the mid-70s for afternoon highs. If 74 is the number, that would be the coolest Halloween in terms of the afternoon high temperature that we've seen since way back in 2012. Starting things off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we're at 72. By trick-or-treat time, we're talking about air temperatures into the mid-60s, give or take. And then if you're out late on Halloween night, we're talking upper 50s to around 60 degrees. So certainly cooler air blasting in behind a secondary front. Yesterday's front now hanging out closer to Cuba into the Bahamas. You can track the changing forecast by downloading the free News 6 weather app. The change is coming with the forecast. There is front number 2. It's already through Dallas. It's coming through Houston. It's going to work its way across the deep south and on the north Gulf Coast. You see a couple of downpours with it. We will run that risk of a few light showers tomorrow, but the drier air comes in. They should be very, very light. Behind that front, look at the change. Average high temperature, by the way, that's the line going across your screen. That's at 82 degrees. By Thursday, we're about 10 degrees below that at 72. Halloween, we're at 74, and then we're still teetering just below average as we move into the early stages of next work week as well, as that drier air continues to come in. This is the season-changing front that is going to take us right on into the dry season. Here's Hurricane Melissa now, Category 4 storm. These hourly updates come in from the National Hurricane Center since landfall was involved. Now 145 miles an hour still. It looks like the center is either just getting back over water. It looks like it's just cleared the land. So it's still going to be nasty for several hours in Jamaica, but there will be significant improvements really once we get past 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And then the next thing up, a likely major hurricane strike in eastern Cuba, eventually the Turks and Caicos, and then then Bermuda is in the crosshairs of Melissa over the next couple of days. So you see it right there, 140-mile-per-hour storm on eastern Cuba, and then kind of zipping back up to the north and east. Still watching for the potential for a landfall near Bermuda as well, as this one races back up into the North Atlantic over the next couple of days after slow going for really the last week. Wednesday, back tomorrow, we'll see air temperatures into the upper 70s. Rain chances at 0% through the early morning of the hour, early afternoon. Once we get into the evening, though, stray opportunity for a downpour. Look at the temperatures back on Thursday. We're into the upper 50s to start, lower 70s on Thursday, and then a very chilly morning on Friday. I think a lot of us waking up into the upper 40s and low 50s. Lots of sunshine on Friday. That's Halloween afternoon. Now here's a look at the rest of your 7-day forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Temperatures then warm back up into the upper 70s. That's still below where we should be for this time of the year. Don't forget, Saturday, before you go to bed, those clocks go back an hour as daylight saving time comes to an end. We will see lots of sunshine through the weekend. Gorgeous feel back to the upper 70s. Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. Air temperature starting things off, guys, into the mid to upper 50s.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Still to come, Amazon slashes thousands of jobs as AI takes over.
What this means for workers in the future of tech. Plus,
healthcare costs hit record highs in 2025, and experts say for 2026, both health insurance and medical care is going to cost even more. I'm News 6 business reporter Donovan Myrie. There are emerging trends across the industry to bring costs down. But is it too little too late? I'll have that story coming up.
Your Tuesday evening traffic alert, Seminole County, 417. Now that the weather is cleared, we're going to see the construction back. Lane closures north and southbound up on the north end between the 50 and around the 53-mile marker. Then the routine stuff on I-4 between the Turnpike down towards State Road 528 and then southern portions of the Florida Turnpike. No scheduled shutdown tonight, but we will see lane closures right around Kissimmee Park Road. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
Newsflash, Americans are paying record high premiums, deductibles, and copays, even if they never set foot in a hospital. According to KFF.org, the average annual premium for employer-based coverage last year hit nearly $9,000 for single coverage and more than $25,000 for families, up about 6 to 7% from the year before. and experts say 2026 could bring the biggest increase in 15 years. So, what's driving the spike? Drug prices, labor costs, administrative waste, and artificial intelligence. But here's the twist. AI is simultaneously pushing costs up and helping to bring them down. Hospitals and insurers are investing billions in automation to cut paperwork, streamline billing, and free up medical staff so they can focus on patients. Healthcare consultant McKinsey & Company estimates automation could save up to $360 billion a year. Agentic AI tools can now schedule appointments and process referrals. Diagnostic AI can help interpret x-rays and brain scans. But those upgrades aren't cheap. Many providers are still building before they can see the savings. Moving away from tech, process rethinking and innovation is also shaping how and where patients get care. Programs like Hospital at Home let patients recover with remote monitoring and daily nurse visits, cutting down on long hospital stays. And employers are experimenting with new insurance models called ICHRA, which reimburse workers for their own health coverage. For Dollars and Cents, I'm Donovan Myrie.
Still to come, Hurricane Melissa makes a historic landfall in Jamaica as a powerful Category 5 storm.
The wind so strong, the hurricane hunters could not even complete one of their recent missions. The latest on the destruction coming up.
And a live look at Daytona Beach. You're watching News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Ginger Gadsden. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories right now. After 17 inches of rain fell and hit Mount Dora Sunday, News 6 got an exclusive look at the damage with Police Chief Michael Gibson. A massive ravine formed behind homes in Waterman Village, leading to the evacuation of 21 residences. The flooding also caused washouts all the way to Donnelly Street. Repairs could take some time, and engineers will assess the damage soon.
North Brevard County is flooded as well after 15 inches of rain, with roads like Robin Hood Avenue closed. The city of Titusville is in a local state of emergency, and the Red Cross opened a shelter at First United Methodist Church. The mayor says help is available for anyone who shows up, and sandbags are still free at the Public Works building. And TSA agents and air traffic controllers at Orlando International Airport are working without pay because of the government shutdown. Union members are handing out leaflets to passengers to raise awareness, and air traffic controllers are now warning flights might slow down if staffing gets too low.
Well, tonight, Hurricane Melissa hitting Jamaica as the most powerful hurricane to hit the island since record-keeping began 174 years ago. This is a live look now over Kingston. Meantime, you're looking at incredible video from inside the storm. This is courtesy of the Air Force Reserve hurricane hunters. They captured that yesterday, and we couldn't stop looking at this and talking about it, Jonathan. This is what they said about it. Today, this happened. The crews had to turn back from a mission today because the aircraft experienced, quote, forces stronger than normal due to turbulence while entering the eye today. Forces are already strong.
Right, no question. Yeah, it's different than your turbulence on an airplane flight if you're going on a trip. That's increasingly rare. That's happened twice with the storm. Yesterday, the NOAA hurricane hunters, and then the Air Force is in there early today. Here is that actual mission where they had to turn around, and I have it paused as they're entering into the actual core of the storm. If you watch these recon missions, and if you're familiar with them, they make that alpha pattern. So they'll go out through the eye like this, back down, then back through, then cut and slice. Watch what happens. I'm going to put this back in play, and you see it kind of spin around there for a while. Now that was a lot faster. That didn't actually happen in the storm. The plane didn't go like that. But what happened is they had to circle around the eye of the storm where it is calm. The eye wall was so intense that they were trying to find a really area to punch back through the eye wall to get out of the storm.
They couldn't even do that.
So that was extremely difficult for them to find. The meteorologists behind the pilots are trying to find areas in between the thunderstorms within the eye wall. There just wasn't. I mean, just goes to show how intense it was. And look at the lightning. These are those little ticks on the screen there. That's the lightning strikes.
That's incredible.
There's what they were experiencing too. Peak flight level winds of 206 miles an hour. At the surface, that equated to 185.
These are the bravest of the brave.
Insane.
And if they have to turn around, then there's a problem. We were in one of those Hurricane Hunter planes, not this one, but it literally is like flying. You're like in a skyscraper flying through a storm.
It's wild. It's fantastic what they do. It's crazy what they do. But without them, we can't forecast these things. So a big thank you. That plane has to go back to Biloxi, Mississippi, home base because it got jostled around so much. That's protocol because of the turbulence.
Unreal.
Crazy.
All right, incredible stuff. Thanks for the explanation. Okay, so Hurricane Melissa is the strongest to ever hit Jamaica, and some experts are calling the storm of the century. Reporter Jason Allen is riding it out in Jamaica's capital.
Hurricane Melissa slammed into Jamaica with winds up to 185 miles per hour and heavy rains.
Today will be very difficult for tens of thousands, if not millions of people in Jamaica. Roofs will be tested, floodwater will rise, isolation will become a harsh reality for many.
The National Hurricane Center issued a dire warning. Within the eye wall, total structural failure is likely. This video U.S. Air Force hurricane hunters took inside the storm shows a massive wall of clouds.
Jamaica, this is not the time to be brave. Don't bet against Melissa.
For days, officials here pleaded with residents to get to shelters or buildings that can withstand the winds and flooding. Aid teams are standing by to get to work as soon as it's safe. Others are ready to fly in supplies. Jamaicans living in the U.S. are watching the storm closely. Minneapolis restaurant owner Tommy Beavis says he's been in constant communication with family and friends back home.
They've been doing a good job stocking up on food, and we're just hoping that they have enough. And then the aftermath of the hurricane, with the flooding, with the devastation, we're hoping that they will have the resources for the immediate recovery as well as the long-term rebuilding.
Melissa's next target, Cuba. Authorities there say they've already evacuated more than 500,000 people from low-lying areas. Jason Allen, CBS News, Kingston, Jamaica.
Cleanup continues in Lake County after devastating flooding swept through the area. Commissioners are talking about what comes next for fixing the roads. As News 6's Mark Lehman shows us, some repairs might take months to complete.
County leaders taking a look at what fixes need to happen to several roads washed out in Sunday's storm. A big focus was here off of Wolf Branch and another nearby road, which are suffering from lingering impacts from Hurricane Milton.
This time the water actually got up on top and it went over Wolf Branch.
In the first meeting since Sunday's storm washed away roads in Lake County, commissioners discussed what steps need to be taken in several spots. A priority is Wolf Branch Road.
We do want to get it open quickly. However, we are looking at long-term fixes that can stabilize that entire section.
The road's seen a lot of the same damage that happened after Hurricane Milton, which people living nearby say has been frustrating.
This never was a problem. This is the first time ever in 12 months we've had this go on twice.
Chad Fuller says he's hoping the county takes an in-depth look at both short and long-term solutions.
And this needs to be we need to do a lot better job of thinking through the engineering of water and retention ponds, depth of retention ponds.
A fix could also be coming to nearby Britt Road. It's been damaged for more than a year, but after securing land and grant money, the county is moving forward with a plan. Fuller says he's eager to see work happening on both roads and hopeful for progress.
This is tough now because this is big, and Britt Road's been closed for a year.
The county says prior to Sunday's storm, they hired an engineering company to design an advanced stormwater system, and they're hoping to discuss the results of that at their next meeting. Meanwhile, a lot of work still needs to happen here off of Wolf Branch Road, and at least the temporary fixes will happen over the next several weeks. For now, reporting in Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
An Osceola County man is on trial for a crash that killed 4 people in another car. But investigators say he was not behind the wheel of either car. Richard Ferguson faces charges for allowing his unlicensed teenage son to drive, which led to the deadly crash. News 6's Laverne McGee is in Kissimmee, where we heard from several witnesses today.
Several witnesses took the stand today, including some of the teenagers who were in the car when that fatal crash happened.
Was his dad around when you guys got in the car?
He was sitting in the garage telling us to buckle up and stuff before we pulled off.
This teenager was in the car his friend Richard Ferguson was driving when they got into a fatal accident. He testified that 60-year-old Richard Ferguson knew that his son was taking their car.
Did he, Mr. Ferguson, see you guys get in the car and drive off?
Yes.
Did he ever make any attempts to stop you guys?
No.
Authorities say 15-year-old Richard Ferguson ran a stop sign at more than 70 miles per hour on September 3rd, 2023. It happened at San Miguel Road and Laurel Avenue in Point Siena. He crashed into a car with a 50-year-old woman and her grandchildren, ages 11, 9, and 1. At the time of the crash, News 6 spoke to the daughter of the woman who died in that crash, along with her 3 kids.
I lost my entire family right here in this spot. Now I have to bury all of them at once.
15-year-old Richard Ferguson pleaded guilty to his manslaughter charges and accepted a plea deal and will likely remain in juvenile custody until he turns 19. I'm your Osceola County community correspondent Laverne McGee, News 6.
To Marion County now, where a Kentucky man who was arrested for a parole violation was found to be living. He was once accused of killing a child, but was found not guilty by reason of insanity in that case. However, he was convicted of other charges. Now, officials say where he was staying in Marion County was just yards from an elementary school. News 6's Tylisa Hampton joins us in Marion County, where a news conference took place just hours ago.
And to them, to the family members that are watching, and for you, 10:55, his ass was out of my jail.
On Tuesday, the Marion County Sheriff said 42-year-old Ronald Exantis is back on his way to Kentucky, handcuffed after they arrested him early this month for violating his parole. Exantis was accused of the 2015 stabbing death of 6-year-old Logan Tipton in Kentucky, but was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He was later sentenced to 20 years in prison for attacking the child's family, but was released 7 years into that sentence on early parole, making his way to Florida.
Is that the parole board in Kentucky did the right thing. A unanimous vote to say no on this individual being released. And because of some stupid, obscure law in which Kentucky has, That murderer came here. That was his mistake.
The case gaining not only state attention, but national, reaching the White House after the press secretary said they were looking into it. County investigators said Exantis was living 40 yards across from an elementary school, but violated his parole when he failed to register as a convicted felon within 48 hours.
We will hunt you down and ensure you're put right back where you should be.
The state's attorney general says the state will continue to be tough on crime.
There are a handful of states out there already that have a narrowed insanity defense. I hope that the leaders in Florida will look at adding Florida to that list of states.
The sheriff's thoughts returning to the family he says has suffered enough.
And the emotion that I could hear in the family in the background, it breaks your heart.
Marion County Sheriff was asked if he would know what charges Exantis could face as he heads back to Kentucky, but they said that is Kentucky's responsibility. They're just happy he is out of the state. Reporting in Marion County, I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton.
Well, Results One is back on patrol in Central Florida.
Trooper Steve hit the streets this morning checking traffic conditions and educating viewers on traffic safety.
We operate in our own little world, right? Our own little bubble. And every person out here has something going on. All right, as we approach here, we're not going to pull in. You know what? Why not? There's a street here. We get paid to be nosy. We're not interfering. Here's the side camera. We're over at Atlantis Auto Service. Rather large response here. Off of 1792 and Catherine Drive. Seems to be a pretty serious medical call as we drive by here. Okay, looks like maybe not a medical, but a fire.
You can watch Steve's full ride-along in this web story at clickorlando.com. During his live stream, Steve takes your questions and concerns about neighborhood traffic issues right from the road. The Thanksgiving countdown is on, but this year's turkey could gobble up a lot more of your money.
I see what you did there. Still to come, the reason behind the spike and the announcement from one major retailer that could save your holiday budget. Jonathan.
Cold front, second one. It's on the way, and it's a bigger one in terms of the chill coming in our direction. Right now, it's moving through parts of the Arklatex, coming through parts of Dallas, eventually into Houston, and then eventually through Central Florida. We'll have the timeline on that and how cool it gets for Halloween in a few minutes.
But first, Amazon cuts 14,000 jobs amid an AI push. We'll break down the impact and the numbers next.
Thousands of workers at one of the largest companies in the U.S. will need to look for other jobs. Amazon announced sweeping layoffs are on the way right before the holidays.
News 6 business reporter Donovan Myrie joins us now. So, Donovan, where in the company exactly are these layoffs coming from?
Well, Lisa, Amazon announced today it will cut 14,000 corporate jobs worldwide as the online retail giant leans on artificial intelligence to streamline operations and reduce costs. The tech giant says the shakeup is part of a broader push to make the company leaner and more focused.
This is coming at the corporate level, and so this isn't Amazon isn't doing well or consumers aren't spending. This is them saying we've got a lot of areas in the corporate level that we think we can be more efficient on, and we're going to take some of those resources away, and then we're going to add some resources in an area that we think is going to be growth-worthy, which is AI.
Today's announcement focused exclusively on those corporate positions. AI technology, white-collar jobs, should not be confused with robotics and automation, blue-collar jobs. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy has long hinted at a future shaped by automation. Internal company documents reviewed by the New York Times outlined Amazon's plan to replace more than 500,000 warehouse jobs with robots and a goal of automating 75% of warehouse operations.
All right, so you've covered like AI rollout in the workplace a lot lately. Where else are we seeing this?
Well, you saw it earlier today when we talked about our medical story, about how medical costs, they are bringing in AI to reduce medical costs. A story I did a couple of weeks ago talked about, will AI be your new boss? This is exactly that, okay? These are white-collar jobs. You have blue-collar workers who basically will now be, I won't say taking orders from a white-collar robot or a white-collar AI, but basically AI is going to be making some of those decisions. And one of the things I talked about in that AI story from a couple of weeks ago was AI doing your job evaluation.
Like grading us?
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of somebody who basically you may not know, they literally look at the data and look at the facts and say, hey, this is what you've done and this is basically...
That'll be interesting. What sort of recourse do you have?
Yeah, I don't think you
I
have
seem
any.
to have nothing.
ChatGPT,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I feel like we should be grading AI. We helped it.
Right, yeah, and and that's the tough thing because basically, it learns on us.
Yeah.
It learns on us.
You talk about these layoffs, though, and the huge numbers, thousands, tens of thousands of people, but we're not seeing a real change in the unemployment rate or anything like that, at least not yet.
Well, kind of not yet. Remember, these are layoffs announced today, 90 days before most of them will take effect, okay? And within those 90 days, Amazon will absorb a bunch of people. They'll put them in different positions. They'll do different things. So basically, you're talking, this is pretty much November, December. These 90 days, people may not be showing up until January. And then depending on that, depending on if they basically say, hey, we're going to pay you for another 90 days, these numbers won't really be showing up until, say, maybe February or March.
Still creates a lot more uncertainty, though, as we're heading into the holidays, as you noted.
Donovan, thank you. I do not want an AI boss for one.
No way.
Yeah, I don't. All right, meteorologist Jonathan Kakis. I also don't want AI doing my forecast for me. How's it going out there?
No question. It is very, very nice out there right now, at least relatively speaking. Still a little muggy out there behind a cold front. The stronger one, it's coming. It's out toward Texas now. It'll be here late tomorrow evening. Sky cam bouncing a little bit in the breeze. You can keep up with that forecast coming up at News 6 with the News 6 weather app. That is free. Just send a push alert for the forecast that front is inbound. You can hit that on your phone, tap that on the screen, and it'll dial you up right to the hour-by-hour forecast to show that front's arrival. That's a live look. Port Canaveral, Brevard County with our launch credit union camera tonight. Air temperatures back to the mid-70s. Lots of sunshine, at least through parts of Central Florida. Just a few passing clouds. Again, front number one came through yesterday. That delivered us a nice clean sweep, at least in terms of getting the rain chances pretty much non-existent for today. That the white lines are the wind direction, so that drier air spilling down the Florida peninsula. Here is front number two. This is the big one. This is the season changer that no doubt will deliver the dry season back. Remember a couple weeks ago there was a question on if there was going to be a dry season, have to wait a couple of weeks, and the humidity surged back up as we thought it might. So not really starting the dry season yet, but this one should do it. and really allow us to not initiate those sea breezes anymore. Here's a live look in downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. A few puffy clouds out there as the sun goes down. We will lose some of those. Do watch out for a little bit of fog to develop, though, overnight, just like last night as the wind backs off a little bit. We're at 80 degrees, so we'll see a few clouds out there through the rest of the evening. The breeze right now light out of the north-northeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Hanging in the mid-60s in Palm Coast. Ocala, good evening. We are at 68. Denellen, we're at 66. Kissimmee, we are checking in at 80 degrees. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
Tomorrow morning, we're back to the upper 50s in Ocala, 56 in Denellen, Holopah. We're back to 62, 66 in Melbourne, a few degrees cooler than what we woke up to this morning. Nice afternoon tomorrow. I think we'll have that mix of clouds and sunshine again, maybe a little more sunshine in the afternoon. Temperatures tomorrow back to the upper 70s and lower 80s. And then the front comes through late into the evening, a stray shower in the mix. It is not going to be heavy, and that's going to be late into the afternoon. Afternoon looking good, morning looking good on your commute tomorrow. Just watch out. You see that white there? That's some fog developing overnight, so keep it easy on your commute into work. That's all I have for you in terms of rain. Thankfully, just a few scattered or broken showers coming through late tomorrow evening. That is the return of the cold front, and that's the big one that sends us back to the 50s on a widespread scale. When you wake up on Thursday morning, that'll put us in the low 70s on Thursday. Fantastic if you like it feeling festive for Halloween. Back to the mid-70s on Friday.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Tonight, try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. You can go in-depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. The countdown is on until the Thanksgiving spread.
Yeah, and as turkey prices soar, one retailer is offering a Thanksgiving dinner for under $40. That story coming up. And ahead at 6, how the penny sales tax in Seminole County may help bring improvements to neighbors.
Coming up in the morning, a push to improve safety on a busy Orange County road.
What's being done to slow down drivers in one part of Pine Hills, and the local mom and son leading the charge to make it happen.
Plus, it's going to be feeling like fall. Candace is tracking the timing of our next front just in time for Halloween.
We'll see you for News 6 mornings starting at 6.
Caught on camera, an intense rescue as a Florida police officer races into a burning home to save a sleeping family. You hear that pounding on the door. Rivera Beach officer Andrew Hines spotted smoke and found a truck engulfed in flames. Hines said the family inside the home was asleep and unaware of the fire.
Honestly, you can hear the crackling from the car going on fire. In my mind, I'm like, okay, they probably have gas in there. I don't know how long I have to hurry up and get everybody out. You know, this thing might explode.
Bless him. That family made it out alive thanks to that officer's actions.
We are less than a month away from Thanksgiving, and this year turkey prices will not be something you'll likely be thankful for. Wholesale prices are up about 40% from last year. The culprit, bird flu, which has led to fewer turkeys on farms across the country. The USDA reports 195 million turkeys were raised in 2025. That is down 3% from last year. Last Thanksgiving, a full holiday meal cost about $58 for 10 people. And while that was cheaper than in 2023, it is still up nearly 20% from 2020. CBS Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady says there are ways to save this Thanksgiving.
Make your list early, shop. You can even shop now, right?
Yeah.
Your turkey you can freeze, your canned veggies you can put in there, your baking goods you can put in your, your cupboard if you've got room. I also find if you actually start looking for the coupons now, you can get stuff before the holiday rush and you're sort of just throwing everything in the cart at the last second.
We know hosting Thanksgiving can be a huge hit on the budget, so Walmart just announced its lowest priced Thanksgiving meal deal yet.
Yeah, the retail giant is offering a complete Thanksgiving dinner for less than $40 a person. That's under $4 per person to feed a group of 10. Now, the meal includes 15 items like a butterball turkey at 97 cents per pound. That's the lowest price since 2019. As for those sides, the meal includes everything from stuffing and rolls to green beans and pumpkin pie. The Walmart Thanksgiving meal deal is available now through December 25th, both in stores and online.
So a couple years ago, I did a story where I compared prices for a Thanksgiving meal at Publix,
Yeah,
Walmart, and Aldi. It definitely pays to shop around. Because each store has a sale on something, and if you take advantage of that, you'll definitely save the most money.
Also, just go around and visit different people's homes on Thanksgiving.
That's
what I do, yeah.
Here's what we're working on for News 6 at 6. Flooding and heavy rain causing damage across Lake County. News 6 is getting an exclusive look of the aftermath of the flooding.
A massive washout just steps away from these homes in Waterman Village left behind by Sunday's flooding here in Mount Dora. We're giving you an exclusive look at the damage left behind you'll only see on News 6.
Plus, a local school honors a student tragically killed Monday.
She was one of those individuals that practiced what she preached and really tried to make good choices.
And Hurricane Melissa makes landfall on Jamaica. The storm so powerful, it cut a hurricane hunter's trip short. News 6 at 6 starts now. We begin tonight with the aftermath of severe flooding in Lake County. This is just some of the destruction we saw in places like Mount Dora. Drone video showing the extent of the damage in the Waterman Village retirement community, where neighbors are dealing with a full washout just feet from their back doors. Some of these homes evacuated. And just a few miles away, here's what it looked like in places like North Donnelly Street and Wolf Branch Road. It's tough to see, but a car was stranded on North Donnelly under a tree and some bushes while the street crumbled on Wolf Branch. Governor DeSantis announced today water pumps are headed to Lake County to help deal with flooding, while the state helps with fixing damaged roads in the county. Your Lake County community correspondent Emily McLeod joins us live from Donnelly Street, another area washed out by those floods. So much devastation there, Emily.
Yeah, and now the cleanup begins, Ginger. As those floodwaters have begun to recede, now crews can really get out here and really begin to survey that damage and get a good look at everything left behind from this flooding over the weekend. Now, after Monday's press conference where we heard from officials here in Mount Dora for an update after the flooding, I asked Mount Dora Police Chief Michael Gibson if we could go on a ride along with him to get his perspective of the damage. He told me yes, so we met up with him earlier today at the Mount Dora Police Station, and we made 3 stops. We went to Waterman Village, right up the street from us. We made a stop here on Donnelly Street, and then we went over to Wolf Branch Road.
All these homes have been evacuated.
Oh my gosh.
And yesterday we were literally watching the feet just fall off.
A look at the massive washout just feet away from homes in Waterman Village. 17 inches of rain slammed into Mount Dora on Sunday, leaving behind a slew of destruction throughout the city. Chief Michael Gibson tells me 21 residences were evacuated from their homes. Are you all at all worried about these houses crumbling?
Well, our priority would be the residents, right, and make sure that they're safe.
We were able to secure an exclusive ride-along with Chief Gibson on Tuesday.
What you think you have in your mind, what the back looks like of Waterman, that was a 3-foot dip to kind of drain water in, and wait till you see 3 turn into 35 feet.
Our first stop was Waterman Village.
It goes far further back. We'll stay about this far away from the, I can tell you that just yesterday, it was another 10 feet, so it's really unstable.
And just down the street, the washout on Donnelly. What do you think the message is, or maybe the learning experience is from this for local municipalities and local governments?
Well, I keep stating, and I can't overstate enough, I'm not an engineer, but these things happen, and we just got to consider those when we're designing as we grow.
And then over to Wolf Branch, a major thoroughfare in Lake County where the road washed out in the exact same place during Hurricane Milton. All 3 of these, Wolf Branch, Donnelly, and what happened at Waterman, hit in one day. How does that impact a city?
Well, we still have 441. 441 is a major highway that cuts right through Mount Dora. Of course, these roadways are important because this is where the community is. This is where our folks live, and they're commuting back and forth to work. They're developers going to areas that are being developed, so these roadways are important to us.
Back out here live, giving you another look at the washout here on Donnelly Street. A huge impact here in the city of Mount Dora, especially into historic downtown Mount Dora. Now, one point that Chief really wants to get across to people is that Mount Dora is open for business. So just because this washout is here on Donnelly Street, that doesn't mean downtown Mount Dora is closed. In fact, we drove through there today and it was very busy. People out there going to the shops, restaurants. But Chief really just encouraging that people looking to visit Mount Dora, you can still access historic downtown Mount Dora. And we also asked the Chief about a timeline for fixes on some of these areas, and he told us that he anticipates a fix over on Wolf Branch Road to be relatively quick, but as far as Waterman Village and here on Donnelly Street, he says those are going to take longer. For now, reporting live in Lake County, I'm your Mount Dora community correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
Yeah, Emily, it's never a great time for anything like this to happen, but the holidays are right around the corner. Thank you for that. Time now for a check of our forecast, and we are so lucky we have drier air in the area right now, and some of our favorite weather coming. It's chilly weather because it's going to be chilly.
Absolutely, yeah. You're going to get that as we get into Thursday, into the weekend, into the first couple of days in November for sure. Cold front from yesterday giving us at least a drier air. Now it's back down through the Bahamas, the drier air spilling through. You can still feel the humidity a little bit, but the big front, it's out closer to Texas, Louisiana right now. That is going to come down the pipeline as we move into Wednesday night. And by the time you wake up on Thursday morning, it is going to be much, much cooler and that drier air spills in. Even though the rain shut off, the St. Johns River, we all know it's a slow drain. And now all the runoff from the water for the past couple of days is going to make its way into the St. Johns. Again, every gauge on the St. Johns River expected to get at least into minor flood stage. At Astor, it's already back into moderate flood stage. So watching for our friends in Sanford here right along the St. Johns, expected to get into minor flood stage by Friday as you watch the river slowly rise on the St. Johns. Ginger.
After more than 15 inches of rain fell in North Brevard County since Sunday night, I'm still finding roads that are closed, like Robin Hood Avenue, where the roads become part of the lake. With the city now under a state of emergency, the Red Cross is opening a shelter for those displaced. And that shelter is downtown at the First United Methodist Church. Mayor Andrew Connors is here with me now. Mayor, for those who need it, how can they get help here?
Just show up to First United Methodist Church. The American Red Cross is out here providing a warm place to stay, hot meals, cleanup kits, everything that people will need to get a start in recovery.
And what's your message to your community right now during a very difficult time as you try to recover from the storm?
Our community is very important that we just stay together and come together so that we can help build each other back up.
For some in the community who think flooding is made worse, perhaps, by overdevelopment or aging infrastructure, what's your message to them?
Normally 15 inches of rain doesn't happen in 12 hours. I don't think that's likely to happen again. But while we learn these lessons, we will continue to improve and get better.
The mayor told me he's going to talk more about redoing the city's stormwater master plan at Tuesday night's city council meeting. In the meantime, if you want sandbags to protect your home, the city's still giving them away here at this public works building on Singleton.
But I've never been devastated like this.
Back at the shelter, I met this man, Mr. Benjamin Runyon, who's very thankful to have a place for a night or two.
This is a wonderful place to be right now, and I never had no idea, James, that this is going to happen to me today. But you know, it's in God's plan.
And about the stormwater plan, I'll follow all developments from the city council meeting, and we'll bring you any updates you need to know about right here on News 6 and clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Titusville community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Staying in Brevard County now, the school district is holding a board meeting to talk about the potential of closing Cape View Elementary School. Here's a live look at the meeting. The district is proposing the school's closing because of low enrollment. Your Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero spoke with parents earlier this month who told him this would create an issue for a school with a lot of walkers.
I think this is going to be a huge disruption to the community because 90% of the students are walkers.
The meeting just got underway in the last half hour, and we can provide more updates tonight. You can read our full report on clickorlando.com. Developing in Marion County, the Forest High School community is mourning the loss of a senior. 18-year-old Shannon Rushing was hit and killed Monday at a bus stop. The principal of the Ocala school says she was walking home after dropping off one of her siblings at the bus stop when it happened. Grief counselors are at the school to help students and staff deal with the tragedy. Forest High School principal Dr. Dion Gary tells News 6 Rushing was always positive and encouraged those around her to do the same.
She was one of those individuals that practiced what she preached and really tried to make good choices.
Ocala police say the 60-year-old driver who hit Rushing is cooperating with the investigation and is not facing criminal charges. Well, from property taxes to fire fees, there's a lot to talk about how your taxpayer money is being spent these days. For over 3 decades, voters in Seminole County have said they want 1 cent from every single dollar they spend to be used to improve roads, bridges, parks, and schools. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver is looking into the priorities for the penny in the years ahead.
Remember the penny sales tax that was on your ballot? That request to renew it that 73% of voters here in Seminole County did approve almost a year ago. Well, the county expects it will generate $650 million in revenue over the next 10 years. But where will that money go? Most of it will be used for transportation and stormwater. But commissioners need to figure out what to do with a portion of that money, around $250 million that they have this time around that also includes park projects and other infrastructure. There's a lot that could be considered in that other category, but now we have a wish list of what commissioners here are considering, and they discussed it Tuesday.
Great to be looking ahead.
We were there as county staff asked the commission for their input on what projects should be priorities, including a new medical examiner building, the WB Equestrian Facility, Rosenwald Community Center, Rolling Hills Park, county headquarters at the Five Points campus, and improvements for animal services. The rough estimate to pay for all of it, about $214 million.
So this was a high-level discussion on the possibilities.
We asked Chairman Jay Zembauer about how they're planning ahead for every cost.
It's always helpful. I mean, we know that a penny and the penny sales tax is equivalent to about 1.4 mils. So if you didn't have the penny, that'd be additional 1.4 mils on ad valorem. This is more of a consumption tax, and we're able to leverage that money hugely. But as far as using it for other items, it would not be able to fund law enforcement and those kinds of things, that we have to fund as public service.
The county says up to 30% of the money they do get from the penny sales tax comes from visitors, people who don't live here in Seminole County, who contribute to a fund that the people who do live here get to benefit from. And as far as that wish list of projects goes, we've taken a deeper look at a lot of those items before. We've included those details on clickorlando.com. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
A crocodile neighbors say has been terrorizing their community is in captivity tonight. What neighbors say happened before Florida wildlife officials showed up. And Hurricane Melissa made landfall in Jamaica today. We're tracking the storm in your full forecast next.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
In Brevard County, neighbors say a golden retriever was killed by a crocodile. Viewer Leanne Anderson Savage shared this brief video of trappers sitting on a crocodile near Sea Park Boulevard and South Patrick Drive. This is in South Patrick Shores. Several social media posts say the croc was found with the dog taken from a yard. FWC would only confirm there was a, quote, incident concerning a crocodile and a dog. FWC says the croc has been placed in permanent captivity. Coming up tonight on News 6 at 11, Troy Campbell will speak with experts about how rare crocodiles are in Florida and a witness to this terrifying scene. Sunday's flash flooding in Lake County wrecked part of Amber Brook Farms in Eustis, tearing down a large retaining wall and damaging key crops. But despite the damage and a big cleanup ahead, the farmers are determined to keep their fall festival running this weekend. Alex Cook shows us how they're bouncing back.
I'm at Amber Brook Farm in Eustis, which was underwater Sunday night. You can see this used to be a big concrete retention wall, now reduced to dirt and rubble as they try to get it cleaned up. The power of the floodwaters pushing this wall completely down. Now, the owners of the farm say that it is at least tens of thousands of dollars in damage and lost crops that they have to deal with. But the good news is they will be open this weekend for their fall festival.
This picture shows the floodwaters early Monday morning after that retaining wall gave way.
We lost our entire retaining wall. Luckily, none of our major infrastructure is damaged, but there's a lot of cleanup to do and a lot of damage and some damage to the crops as well, strawberries and the young sunflowers.
General Manager Caleb Bradley took me on a tour of the damage to the farm Tuesday as crews worked to clean up after Sunday night's flood. He says the goal is to get the farm back into shape for the last 2 weekends of their fall festival.
It's going to require, at a minimum, filling as much dirt as we can back in here and marking off to make sure our guests are safe. But this just represents one area.
Other areas include the kids' playground, now being filled with fresh dirt, and the strawberry and sunflower crops, many of them destroyed by the flood. Workers Tuesday salvaged what they could. Bradley says even though the farm sustained lots of expensive damage and now faces lots of hard work, he's thankful everyone was safe.
I mean, we're lucky, nobody who lives here on the farm's home was damaged.
And of course, the show must go on.
We are 100% confident we will be open this Saturday and Sunday. All the same offerings, all the tractor rides, the playgrounds, the jump pillows, the food, the donuts, it'll all be up and running. It may look a little bit different, a little battered, but we're going to be open.
In Eustis, Alex Cook, News 6.
I love that resilience when you say the show must go on. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
things happen, and these guys are really trying to make it happen. Another story,
Talk
though,
about
that
resilience.
it's in Jamaica. I thought last night I saw that it was going to be a 4 when it made landfall,
Mhm.
but you say it hit as a Cat 5, 185 mile per hour wind.
2 days ago it was expected as a 4. Then last night Hurricane Center upped it to
Ramped it up.
175, and then
Yeah.
it made landfall as 185 today. This is Montego Bay, we're being told, and so this was further inland, of course. This is on the northern side of Jamaica. So of course they took a much weaker, I think it was at this point 150 mile per hour sustained
Oh.
wind. So that's a category 4.
That's weaker.
Yeah, quote unquote weaker than a 185.
Yeah.
So this is Montego Bay, and again we're just looking at some of the breeze that still continues.
Just devastating.
Yeah, the storm itself now offshore, at least the center of the storm has moved offshore.
Is this the strongest one to ever hit?
It is the strongest to ever hit, tied for anyway, going back to 1935, the Labor Day hurricane of 1935, and Hurricane Dorian. Both of those storms made landfall with 185-mile maximum sustained winds. Today, Melissa tied that, also coming ashore with 185-mile-per-hour winds. So you see here again the difference, this very well-defined eye, and then obviously closing a little bit. It lost its water source, it lost its strength, so then working its way back off towards the northeast. So the center now is offshore heading toward Cuba. It has picked up forward motion a little bit out of the north-northeast at about 8 miles an hour. Pressure up to 921 millibars. Winds are at 145. The thing with that is we won't actually know what the winds are until hurricane hunters get back into this thing later on tonight. Again, landfall tying a record in New Hope, Jamaica, with maximum sustained winds of 185 miles an hour. The pressure was 882 millibars. The lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. And again, that ties Hurricane Dorian from 2019 and then the Labor Day hurricane to hit Florida back in 1935. In terms of all Atlantic hurricanes, this is now tied for the third most intense. Intensity is rated by the pressure, and that again bottomed out at 892 tying the Labor Day hurricane of 35 and then coming behind Gilbert of 88. That was post Jamaica in 88. And then Wilma back in 2005, that ridiculous rapid intensification on that storm getting to 882 millibars, a very intense storm. Again, latest on that expected to come ashore sometime early on Wednesday morning in Cuba with 140 mile per hour winds. Again, that could fluctuate as we wait to get more data from the hurricane hunters to see what the structure looks like post landfall with Jamaica. Then it's going to zip up toward Bermuda and then exit out finally into the North Atlantic going forward. Back closer to home, much quieter, of course. A few clouds out there. It's a live look in Daytona Beach. Air temperatures back to the upper 60s. The breeze out of the north at about 15 miles an hour. We're at 69 into Land Leesburg. Good evening. We are at 71. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency? You ought to call Strata.
Tomorrow morning, we're back to the upper 50s and lower 60s, and this is just kind of the start. Cold front crosses through tomorrow evening, so another day in the 70s and 80s, and then there you'll see the changes coming down the pipeline. Behind that front that's out near Texas, highs on Thursday only in the low 70s, guys. Friday, we are back to the low to mid 70s on Halloween. Lots of sunshine.
Ooh.
We're going to keep things in the 70s for the week ahead.
Put some leggings under those costumes for sure. All right, thank you, Jonathan. Sports Director Jamie Say is here now, and the Magic need to get defensive about their defense.
Yeah, it's not what we expected.
No,
it certainly,
it's not.
Certainly has been substandard in the first week of the season, what the Magic say coming up. And while we were all sleeping, the Dodgers win Game 3 of the World Series in dramatic fashion at about 3 a.m. A recap of an epic, and a look ahead to tonight's Game 4 next. If you value your sleep, you probably missed one of the finish of one of the best World Series games this century, right? The Dodgers and Blue Jays went 18 innings last night, with Game 3 ending at about 3 a.m. Here's the biggest hit you may have missed.
11:50 in Los Angeles.
sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the clock strikes me. Freddie Freeman has ended it.
That's a moment. Freddie Freeman's walk-off home run in the 18th inning, giving the Dodgers a 6-5 win and a 2-1 edge in the World Series.
It's kind of amazing, crazy, and I'm just glad we won. And we're up 2-1, and we got our Shohei on the mound tomorrow.
That would be superstar Shohei Ohtani. He reached base last night an historic 9 times. He went 4 for 4 at the plate, 2 home runs and 5 walks. Ohtani's pitching tonight. He's the Game 4 starter. Blue Jays are sending Shane Bieber to the hill tonight to try to even up the Fall Classic at 2 wins apiece. Game time is at 8. Well, the Orlando Magic must start playing better defense. It is early in the season, but they've got some issues to work out. The Magic lost their 3rd game in a row last night in Philadelphia, 136-124. In their 1-3 start to the season, the Magic are allowing over 119 points per game. That's a far cry from last year, when Orlando was the stingiest team in the NBA, giving up just 105 points per. That was number 1 in the league. Offensively, the Magic have changed their style to a faster pace, which has impacted their defense.
We definitely can be better. We got to be better. Both ends of the floor. I feel like it's the small things, little details that are getting us beat. You know, some of our closeouts, fouling, offensive rebounding, a lot of things that we talk about, we got to put them into action.
All right, so the Magic are in Detroit tomorrow, Charlotte on Thursday, so that's an opportunity to get 2 wins and put this 3-game losing streak behind them. It's just surprising because they did enter the season with momentum, but they are tweaking things offensively.
I would like to tweak the number of games I said they would win.
Well, don't give up hope yet.
What was
50.
your 50?
It's only been a week.
Okay,
it's only been
a
a
rough
week,
one.
okay?
All right, thank you, Jamie. More news at 9 on ClickOrlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app. Until then, have a great night, everybody. Bye.